Hello. I'm Mike B, your host, and this is Who Dares Rolls, and this is Mumble Jumbo, because I always forget to say that, for this November. Fuck, it's November already. Jesus effing Christ. This November. Jesus. How are we all? How are you doing? Are we all right? We're good? We're playing games, I should hope, and doing something to take away from the sheer bloody tormenting terror of the reality around us at the moment. I had nothing to say. I've been doing since last time. I don't think anything of note has come up. No brain racking. No, fine. Played some games though, so I suppose we could. Let's do a bit of that. So played only a couple of things actually, to be fair, since last time. Friday night's gaming session fell apart because I ended up having to stay here to play, and it ended up only being me and Ben, which I'll come back to that in a minute because this could be a longer discussion piece. But first of all, Sunday we played Tapestry again. I like Tapestry. It is a little bit broken. It is quite random for Stone My Game. I love all these things. I've said this before. It is a weird thing. I just enjoy the mechanisms in that game and how it plays. I just like the little you do one action, you do one thing, and you're just building these little engines that do the thing. I'm looking down here like it's there. I'm just visualizing it. I'm there in the moment in the game. Shame you're not there with me. I played with. We've got all the expansions in there. I played with all of it. There's a third one coming apparently. It is an engine building game. It's supposed to be a Civ game. It is sort of a Civ game, abbreviated. Essentially, it's this engine builder. And if you're a fan of something like Terraforming Mars or any of those sort of things where you're building a engine to generate stuff, to do stuff, it has a load of variety in there, loads of different civilizations you can play as that have different rules. Some of them a bit weird and wonderful, all over the place, with this whole mishmash of action selection and one choice and engine building and there's Sudoku board. It's got a lot going on, but it's simple enough to understand, and it looks gorgeous. It looks nice. The stupid big buildings are stupid, and that's it really. That's all of that. That's all I have to say on the matter of Tapestry. I enjoy it. Anyway, the other thing we played was me and Ben played Oath on Friday. Now, Oath's one that I was quite fascinated by. It's got a longer title, I believe. It's by the guys behind, it's Leader Games, the guys behind Root. Got the same sort of artistic aesthetic to it. Ben kickstarted it when it first came out. It's one of these had on the shelf for a while. It's one I was fascinated by. It is kind of a legacy game, but it's not, because it's resettable. It's basically card-based with you kind of building a kingdom and playing as advisors of a court sort of thing. And as you, kind of a bit Charterstone-ish, in that when you're at the end of every game, you change the deck. Stuff gets added to it, which will subsequently inform the next play. And you can play this ad nauseum, I believe. You've got a little book log, you can log stuff in, which is kind of cool, but you can basically track it, and you're this ever-changing empire, world, monarchy, whatever you want to call it, this civilization, how it's kind of altering over time, over age. So kind of the King's Dilemma, but more of a very abstracted, broader view of it, and not so kind of that legacy-ish, that real sort of thing, which it's good. We like the King's Dilemma. It was fantastic. Different thing to that. Anyway, I've rambled. That's kind of the idea behind it. We took the opportunity to play a 2-player game, but actually a 4-player game, kind of as a teaching game, so that we could grok the game, get our heads around what it was doing and how it worked, so that this coming Friday we can present that to the rest of them, and at least then me and Ben have got kind of an idea of how it works, and we can inform the others and then maybe get a game going. So out the gate, for starters, I'd heard a lot of things about it, that it was quite complex, or just a bit of a teach, because it's this weird play style. Basically, you've got one person who's a chancellor who has differing powers to everyone else. Everyone else basically is the same at that point. They're peasants, essentially. The Chancellor can gift these people with a lord title or whatever it is, I can't remember, unless you're not exiled, you're something else, which gives them some other victory conditions and helps him in his victory conditions. The essential idea of the game is there's a board with different areas of the map which are preordained at the start randomly, and as the game plays from game to game to game, that will alter. Stuff will be held over. We'll come back to that. But you've got basic areas you can visit, and you can play up to about usually a couple of cards against them, which will have powers over that area or give you powers if you control it. The Chancellor, his mission is to, usually depending on the victory conditions, the games change every game depending on the last game, but the basic one is to control the most areas. So he's doing that, and he starts off with the advantage of areas under his control. You've got a pawn piece you can move to areas that give you options at it, or if you control it by having the most military presence, we should say. And that's kind of it. And you get you can draw cards. They go to discard decks above different areas. So depending on what areas you control, what areas you are, you can pull either from the discard, which is cheaper, or from the main deck, which gets increasingly more expensive as these prophecies are pulled. And all of this can get played down. You can play advisors to yourself out of the same hand of cards to give you those permanent effects. You've got a kind of an economy of fame points or something, which are coins, which is always confusing because you just think of them as coins, but they're not. That's kind of a weird choice. Why make something a coin when it's not a currency? I don't understand. But anyway, you got that, and these little books which are knowledge or something, and they're kind of cool. They're very cool looking, the components. And you've got various things you can generate more of them. And that, the basic idea of the game, so that's it. And already you're going, well, so the basic idea of the game is this: you will take an action, place a thing down somewhere, or play a card, and something will happen. And it's very straightforward. It's simple. It's a simple design, simple mechanisms, yet when you instantly add these cards in, and these environments and these other things and powers and the different things you can do at each turn, suddenly it goes from this simple plan to this of like options and variables and stuff and what we want to do, and all this will affect. So I can see, yes, to teach it, it's quite a thing. I said to Ben that my feeling on the thing is I'm fascinated by it, and I want to see how a game can evolve. And it's not legacy as such. Essentially, your game, you can reset at any point you want, but each game will alter the next game, and you can have people drop in and out. You don't have to have the same people playing, and it's kind of this just ever evolving game. So wherever you do put it out, the kingdom and the world will present whatever happened from the last game. Kind of cool. I like the idea of that generally. I like the card they are. Everything else is cool. Anyway, I was making a point, and I said to Ben, was that my feeling was we need to present to the peeps as when we teach the game, is that, look, this first game isn't going to necessarily, you're not going to win it, probably, it may frustrate you, stuff, it's going to confuse you, but we're probably by game 3 of this, we have to invest a few evenings of gameplay into this. By game 3, everything is going to kind of cement, and then you're going to really know what you're doing and be able to then play the game. That's my feeling. That's how we need to present it, because my feeling is the same, is that I kind of got what it was doing on the peripheral. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm interested to see how it plays out, because I want to see, because at the end of the game there's this whole mechanism of stuff gets saved and put in a box, essentially, so that next time certain maybe locations may remain from previous turns and games, and some other bits and pieces will carry over. Cards get added to the deck, which, depending on the types of sort of cards you play, there's essentially, I think, 4 suits of cards, and they all have different kind of abilities. One's a bit of a fuck each other over card based set, and one's a economy based, and one's a something else based, and one's something else based. Depending the suit that was played the most during that round, that game for the evening, is that will then add more of those type of cards will go into the deck for next future games. So it kind of alters if the thing is economy based or military based or whatever based, it's going to inform the next generation or bit of the game. So yeah, all that kind of sounds cool, that there's this little bit of carryover, so there's a bit of leftover, so you kind of play a bit from there. The victory condition can change, there's different banners you can claim, there's different stuff can alter, and the Chancellor will swap around each round as well, whoever plays him every game, and everyone else is something else. So there you go. I've rambled a tad in regards to that. I'd say I'm fascinated. I was interested before. It was one I looked at on Kickstarter. It was quite pricey. And I was just like, yeah. But it was always one what I kind of like looked off. And it's always been a little bit pricey when I've seen it come up, and I haven't seen it discussed for a while. I feel it's one that definitely doesn't reward on first play, and Root is very much one of those, I think. I've never really got with Root. I get it aesthetically and all that, and just that asynchronous thing, I don't know. I play it, but it doesn't excite me, Root. I'm not buying in on the thematics on that one. But this, I quite like the look of it and the feel of it. And just the maybe storytelling you can do around that. Because I think if you invest into what's happening in the world, which I don't think you're initially going to do, because you're going to be mainly just mechanisms placed and faced. Anyway, yes, so that sounds fascinating to me. I quite like the sound of it. I will be playing some more. I will report back on subsequent plays how that all goes along. Lovely. Shall we do some news?
Here is the news.
News. Most of this is going to be, I think it's going to be crowdfunding based. It's essentially what this is going to be. To quick up that actually. So, Core Request. Ta-da! Core Request was a Kickstarter during the pandemic. Dan Hughes and his daughter, they kind of co-designed this, and it's a dungeon crawl adventure type game for kids. And the cool thing about it is all the art and all that was the kids drew in their pictures, and then a professional artist just kind of cleaned them up, made them, fix them a little bit, coloured them up, make them look cool. But essentially, they've kept all the designs of all what the kids have put into the thing, and the adventures and all that sort of stuff. And it's kind of a dice rolly, simple game. I picked it up. I didn't get the Kickstarter, but I saw this at retail, and it was not inexpensive. It's all right. It's about 30 quid, which is all right. There's a lot of stuff in this little box, to be fair to you. And I like the aesthetic of it, and Isaac's interested in games. So I think, number one, he's a little bit young for this at the moment. However, everything is kind of very colourful and big and solid and kid-friendly. I think it's probably something I could at least get out and we can start looking at and playing around with. I'm rooting around here. So you've got all the characters you can play. And they're kind of nice big cardboard chits. And there's dungeon tiles and stuff to put down. It looks kind of cool. As I say, I think he's a little bit probably advanced from where he's at the moment. It's like a quest book and some stuff in there. It's nice. It's all quite nice big chunky dice. But there's a lot in there, in that base box. I haven't read all the rules spec. I haven't done anything else on that because I haven't had 5 minutes to myself. It's kind of a 6+, but he's 4 at the moment. So I thought I'd pick it up now, so I've got it. And as he's interested, I can show him. Blah, blah, blah. I've rabbled that. Anyway, the point is, number one, this is kind of cool. It's very cool. I like it. British design, English publishers, all that good stuff. All the British stuff. I'm not going on a whole Brexit thing, but, it's nice to see British output by iGames. Who've done the reprint of Raggle Dance. This is very scattershot, isn't it? There is a Kickstarter running. Let's get to the point, Mike. Core Quest expansion. There's an expansion for Core Quest on Kickstarter at the moment, which adds like a campaign play and a bunch of other good stuff. Again, they're planning on filling the box as full as they can. I'm not sure you get it in this box. This box is quite full. And there's a Kickstarter exclusive thing, which is, well, not exclusive, but there's a Kickstarter extra thing, which currently only available on the Kickstarter, which was some black dice, which is slightly better, cool killer dice that you can use, extra weapons, which is kind of cool. And a bunch of other stuff. Lots of other little modules and bits to chuck in. Looks kind of cool. I like the aesthetic. I like the idea of it. I like, I like the father-daughter thing going on. That's kind of cool. Dan Hughes he's cool. And all this. Then how could you not? Anyway, there you go. Core Quest. Not really the audience for this thing because I've not sworn during this, so that's a relief, isn't it? So they could at least maybe potentially they could look at this bit. Core, if you are watching this bit, I don't watch anything else. So I'll say that. Lovely, thank you. Anyway, Core Quest. There you go. Kickstarter on Kickstarter. That is the thing I'm pointing towards. Okay, that's it. That's the closest I'm getting to doing I don't know, things that us media types do, make you buy stuff. That's it. It's the only thing I'm on the fence for. Cool. Right. Anyway, news, other stuff. I've distracted myself. Queen's Dilemma. I brought up last video. It was Queen's Dilemma on Kickstarter. It was essentially, that's expensive. So they've subsequently, to be fair to them, they have reacted to that. There is now some different tiers been put on. There's a cheaper base pledge tier, which I didn't quite fully look at what it does or doesn't get you, but it is the base game, which I think is about just sub £100 for that, which is closest to what I think King's Dilemma was originally at retail, and you get the exclusive thing on it. They've also added another tier which is more expensive. I think is closer to the original pledge price that they had, but now this includes all the other stuff it did and a recharge pack, an option to reset the game. So, you know, they've reacted to the stuff. Personally, for me, it's still too rich for me. I did float it to the group as a potential possibility. We could split it. I didn't have an arm bit off. Okay, there was interest generally, but like, yeah. So yeah, that was how that went. So it's probably not happening. Fair enough. You know what? So where I stand on it, there you go. It's there for you to think about. I think the King's Dilemma can be bought for now £30 or less. I've seen even less at the moment. I've seen it around. Buy that for £30 and enjoy that. Yeah, and then you can go, oh, that was kind of cool, and then you can go, I like it, but I don't like it that much, and you can wait for this to come to retail and potentially end up eventually being maybe that price. I don't know. Personally, no, it's not for me. But at least they reacted. At least they did some stuff. There's options there for you. I don't see personally this cry for I only play it once, and I can see the price that you probably don't want to play it once, but how often are you going to play one of these games again? King's Dilemma is one I toyed with potentially with the price it is, how cheap it is, picking up again from my other group. But I haven't really got the spare cash to do that. But time allowing, blah, blah, blah. It would be something maybe I would revisit just because there was a chunk of story that we didn't see when we played it last time. But yeah, there you go. I'm not suggesting anyway you should run and back it because I don't think it's worth it personally. Buy the base, the King's Dilemma, and play that and see what you think. And then worst case, wait a year and pick up the other one. No one else is going to see it for a year, so you know what, save your money. What else is there? So Core Quest recovered. Slay the Spire Kickstarter started a couple of days ago. Slay the Spire, if you've never played it, which how dare you have not played it, is it's on Steam, or everywhere. I think it was an app, I think it's around anyway. It's a game started on Steam. It is one of the roguelike dungeon deck builder type games on the computer, and it's fantastic. The idea is essentially you have a character that you start with a base sort of deck of cards and their abilities, and as you ascend this tower level by level, killing monsters or visiting these shops and getting stuff and getting cards, you buy cards and get more cards into your deck, and essentially you get these crazy fucking combinations of cards bouncing off something else to cause something else to happen, to do these humongous combos and all this other crazy shit that happens, and everything kind of syncs up, and it's crazy, insane. It's brilliant. I fucking love it. The game, the app, or whatever you want to call it, it's fucking astoundingly good. And there's like 4 characters you can play, and it's been an obsession for a while. I haven't played it for a while because I played it a lot, but it's of all those games, it is good. The only thing I have with the online game is it would be kind of cool if you could play against someone or something, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, perfect, brilliant. So there is Kickstarter now for all the board game equivalent of Slay the Spire. I will acknowledge from the outset when this was first suggested, I was like, I don't get it. I can't see how it could work because there's just so many variables and so many crazy fucking combinations that you can do in that game. I don't see how they can transmit any of that, even a fraction of the feel of that to a board game equivalent without it becoming just a lot of work to enjoy the same experience you can on a computer. So it's out. It's quite expensive. The Kickstarter itself isn't really giving you much information. There's some videos that I'm watching. And the big thing it does differently is it's a 4-player now, it's a cooperative, so you can kind of work together, maybe, I think, sync up between yourselves. Is its general, its main selling point, I think. Other than that, you've got a board of cut down thing, you go up it and with one of the 4 heroes and da-da-da. I look at it and I go, I enjoyed that video game so bloody much, and I look at this and I go, I don't see how this can do anything that will in any way give me the experience of what I can't get in less time on that thing. It's going to be a limited version of it, and it's going to be a lot of work because you're just going to have to be shuffling cards and doing this and doing that and all this other stuff, which is kind of going to take away from the joy of just being able to sit there and just do the thing. And you're not going to have those mass combos. I don't understand it. I still don't understand it. It's done big money, and I'm sure it will do crazy silly money because people want this thing. I don't get it. Not at the price it is, especially. Maybe a bit about 50 quid. Maybe. Because there's nothing in there. There's a lot of cards, clearly. And they've sleeved. I think there's a special sleeves. How they modify them, I think, throughout the game, you have to slide cards in, which is why you have the sleeves in them. It's probably making it expensive. Anyway, there'll probably be other ways of done it. Personally, I'm just left going, fine, it probably is a okay facsimile of it, but the amount of work you probably don't get it. Same with the darkest dungeon, whatever it was. Again, and that's eventually came out, and there was a whole shitstorm over that, which we won't even go into. I don't even know the full ins and outs of. But from what I've seen of it, it does look gorgeous. Loads of miniatures, loads of this aesthetically very cool. But A, it was crazy money, and B, apparently by all accounts, it's a massive. I've seen it literally filling tables, like ridiculous amounts of shit, card and things and stuff to track, and it just becomes like this. Why is that? That's not representing the game. I can just play the fucking game. Why not? So if you're going to figure the Slay the Spire, go to Steam or wherever you want to go, or whoever's got it, and spend the 15 quid, I think it is, to get it and enjoy that. Okay? Enjoy that, because it's brilliant. And save yourself the other 100 and whatever it is quid that you would be sinking into the thing you got to wait a year or two for, and it won't be as good as the thing you could play for 15 quid. Just saying. That's my feeling on it. I wouldn't bother. And that is the news. There's nothing else I can tell you. I'm not aware of anyway. I'm sure there's some shitstorm going on somewhere, but that is the news. Anyway, stuff I've watched. I've not really done much. I haven't really watched much. If I'm honest, I've been busy. There's the last Andor, but there's episode of Andor's dropped tonight. I'm going to go and watch that in a minute. I'm loving fucking Andor. Very good. House of Dragon. I think I covered that before, but I've watched all of that now. That was fucking brilliant. Fantastic, really enjoyed that. Much better than Lord of the Rings. Covered that. Watched the latest Scream movie the other day. Found it a bit like, yeah, I think that one's done. I think we've done that. It didn't really do anything to massive. It was good. It was all right. It was okay. It was fine, but didn't surprise. No, the twist was you kind of know who's doing it. That's what I'll say. But it's all right. And I'm still watching for All Mankind, which I'm just enjoying, quite like that. I'm watching Ted Lasso recently. That's it. I haven't read anything. I've backlog of stuff. I've been listening to some podcasts on the way into work, because that's always cool. Nothing to know there, though. Just stuff. Well, that was useful, wasn't it? But that's it. That's for me. I'm hoping to have a good weekend. What's coming up for me? I don't know. I've got stuff to do. I need to do some reviews. I'm behind on everything. I will try. I promise. I don't know. I'll play some O for the weekend. We'll let you know how that goes. I hope you have you any suggestions? Anything you'd like to see? Any effort you'd like me to attempt to make? Oh, horticulture. I was going to do the horticulture review. I was going to do that. I may eventually get that. The Kickstarter's running. They funded Tinkerbot Games. They did Ghostal, which was really good. Fantastic game. I've played Horticulture in its earlier iteration. It's a great game. I would have had a video for the last one, and then it didn't happen. Stuff. But anyway, Horticulture is on Kickstarter at the moment. I think on GameFound. Shit. It's out there. I'll maybe try and put a link on the thing. Worth a back. That's what I'm saying. It's all right. It's good stuff. And if I get the copy of it, I'll show that off on here and stuff. Maybe a bit late in the game, but we'll see. That's it. Yeah. And so any suggestions, like maybe stuff I list? I don't list. Do we want to know? Fuck it. And stuff. I don't know. Things. I hope you're well. Look after yourselves. I will be in touch soon. Until then, stay safe and play more board games than humanly possible for the time being. It's dark, it's wet, it's horrible. What the fuck else are you going to do with yourself? That's what I'm saying.